Welcome to That Weird Friend podcast. I'm your host, Arianna Kaminsky, and if you're weird, I hope you'll be my friend. So today we're going to talk about different stories I have from each grade level in school, and we'll start with preschool and then work my way up to 8th grade, and then I'll save the rest of my stories from high school for another episode. So this episode is going to focus on grade school stories. So in preschool, a lot of the times my grandparents picked me up from school. I remember I used to have this backpack. I'm pretty sure it was Dora, and it was made out of plastic. So whenever you moved and you were carrying it, it made these squeaky noises. And every time I would go by my grandparents to go there after school was over, I would do so many things outside. I now realize that the plastic backpack has nothing to do with the story, but anyway, I would go to my grandparents and I would do outdoor activities, almost like I was at a camp or something. I would go through the dirt and pick out worms and feed them to the fish in the pond, and then I would help with the garden. If it was warmer out, I would pick vegetables or go around and look at all the wildlife. I would look for frogs and pet them. So that is what I was doing after preschool. And then when my mom came to pick me up after work, I usually was in the middle of something, whether that was baking with my grandmother or doing something in the yard, and I wanted to finish what I was doing before I went home. I always remember that. I was never ready to go home when she came to pick me up because I felt like I was on an adventure. So that's my story from preschool. Then kindergarten, something that stands out for me is I was always a rule follower, always from a young age, and I never wanted to get in trouble, and I would never talk when the teacher was talking, so people would think I was so quiet. So in kindergarten, one day, this kid who got in trouble a lot, he was a troublemaker, he kicked me underneath the table, and I was always taught to defend myself if someone kicked me or hurt me or in any way, to defend myself, so I kicked him back. And then he kicked me again, so I kicked him harder. And then the teacher saw this time, and she gave us both we lost 15 minutes of our playtime for that day, and I was really upset. I think I cried. I might have cried because I think I got my name on the board, which that was life-changing. What ended up happening is I didn't actually lose 15 minutes because I was well-behaved for the rest of the day. So by the time I got to playtime, the teacher erased my name from the board and let me have normal amount of playtime. So I was happy with that. I think she knew that I was defending myself, but obviously she couldn't just get the other guy in trouble because I also kicked him back. But I'm proud of myself looking back now that I kicked him back, because when you don't stand up for yourself, people just keep on messing with you. I think you need to stand up for yourself, because he never did that to me again. So I'm glad I kicked him back. Okay, in first grade, what happened in first grade? I remember in first grade, me and my friend, we would make fake arm casts that might not even make sense, or you might know exactly what I'm talking about. We would take printer paper and roll it up so it looks kind of like a cylinder, and we would tape it, and then we'd put it on our arms and then cut a hole for our finger, and we'd have fake arm casts, and we would go around the class and have people sign it. And it's so weird to think about, but we thought it was cool because we didn't really think about what breaking a bone would be like. We just thought people with casts were cool because everyone could sign their cast. But my mom had broken her arm when she was younger, and every time she saw me do that, she was like, getting a cast is not good. It smells, it's disgusting, it's itchy, it's annoying, and when they take it off, you have to use this cast cutter, which I don't know if they do this anymore, but they use an actual saw to cut it off. So that can be pretty scary. Imagine a saw coming right next to your arm, and you just need to trust the person using it, that they know what they're doing, which that's a lot of trust. In second grade, this is when the plot thickens. I was always a business person, always wanted to have a lemonade stand, always was thinking about money or how I could make it, wanted to sell jewelry. I sold bookmarks to people that I drew, and My dad actually showed me a picture of someone at his job who still has a bookmark that I made for her, and this was like over 10 years ago, so that's really nice. But anyway, so in the second grade, this story sounds ridiculous, and I'm going to write about it in a book that I'm going to be coming out with, but this story is like too good not to say in this episode. So what happened is I had a great idea of like, let's have a ice cream party, or let's have a pizza party, and let's tie-dye shirts. So I'm like, we need to raise funds so we can pay for this party for in our second grade class. So I kind of was quiet at this time, so I kind of had the idea, told my friends, they told their friends, and like it spread throughout the whole class. So everyone, I don't know whose idea it was to sell Pokemon cards, but that is what happened. Like people would sell Pokemon cards and then give me the money to keep in my desk, and then this went on over months, and that money would get more and more. And then I said that when we had enough money, like we would get ice cream and have an ice cream party. Then the teacher found out that this was happening. It went on for so long without her noticing though, which I don't know how, because at snack time, this is when this was happening. At snack time, we would go to everyone's desk and they would like display their Pokemon cards, and people would walk around with like their change and like buy a Pokemon card at snack time. So the teacher wasn't really paying attention because she was probably on her phone or whatever, but eventually she noticed, and they called my parents and told them that I was keeping like money in my desk. And I remember my dad talked to me at my friend's house, because my friend was also like, I don't know whose parents they called, if they called everyone's in the grade, but my friend's parents were also talking to me and my friend about it. And I was just saying like we wanted to have like an ice cream party and tie-dye, and we were just raising funds to be able to have our party. And I didn't really get into trouble, but this is why I wanted to tell the story, because they took the money and they said we would have a pizza party with the money, but we never did. So that $30 that we raised got taken away from us. So I think that is the real crime in the story, not me keeping the money in my desk, because I knew I was going to use it for the better of the class, use it for the class to get ice cream or tie-dye. I wasn't going to take the money, but then the school took our money and they didn't give us a pizza party. Like, how rude. I'm still angry about that, because I know it was only $30, but you know how long that $30 took to raise when we were just doing it with change and $1 bills? Like, that took a while to raise, and they just took our funds. So I'm still salty about that. What are you gonna do? That was like 20 years ago. Not 20, 18. Anyway, 4th grade comes. We went to Trenton in 4th grade, didn't we? Yeah, I went to Trenton in 4th grade. I remember looking up at that dome in the Capitol building, and it was just all gold, and I was just like mesmerized. Wait, did I skip? I skipped 3rd grade. Okay, 3rd grade. We went to Waterloo Village. We also went to the Newark Museum, I believe. Yeah, the Newark Museum. And I remember at the Newark Museum, I wanted to get what did I want to get? I wanted to get a backpack with the Newark Museum's logo on it, and my teacher convinced me out of it and said I should get a book instead. So I got the book. And I don't think I ever read that book. I should have just gotten that backpack, because I would have used it more. Also in the 3rd grade, I would always use the handheld sharpener. I would never use the sharpener that was like plugged into the wall, because it would disrupt my work ethic. Like, I just wanted to not have to get up from my chair and just be able to sharpen my pencil. So I never got up to use like the one plugged into the wall. So anyway, my handheld sharpener, sometimes it would get like stuck. The sharpened pencil part, the point would fall off into the sharpener and get stuck, so it wouldn't work anymore. So there was this kid who always like helped me when my pencil sharpener got broken. I would just give him the sharpener without saying anything, and he would know, like, I don't know what trick he used, but he always got the point out. And we were just like so in tune that like it could be in the middle of a test, and I'd just give him my sharpener and he'd just get out the point and then give it back to me. It's so funny to think about now, because I haven't talked to these people in years, but that was just like a bond, a connection, and those things just weird to think about years later. how that person you talked to a lot in like grammar school you didn't talk to in high school at all, and now you'll probably never talk to again. But I guess that's just how life goes. Now we're going to move to 4th grade. In 4th grade, we did go to the Capitol in Trenton. I ended up having the same teacher in 4th grade as I had in 2nd grade. Also in 4th grade, we had to give a presentation about presidents. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was James Buchanan. No. Is that a Gatsby character? I'm not sure. I know that the president I got was funny looking, and everyone made fun of this president that I got because no one had ever heard of him, and he was bald and he looked like an egg. He looked more like an egg than me. And we had to give a presentation in front of all 3 of the 4th grade classes. I remember on the day, all 3 of the classes were gathered into this one room, and we had to go in front of the class and read our speech on the president that we had researched. And I was in my head trying to find some way to get out of it, because I would always get so nervous before these things. So nervous. But after other people went and they weren't really prepared and their speeches were kind of like, didn't really say much information, I kind of felt better about my speech and was like, okay, I actually have something to say, and it's in complete sentences and it has facts. So compared to other people's, it sounded good, and I went and I got a good grade. But I don't remember actually giving the speech because I probably blacked out, which is what normally happens when I go in front of people. At least when I was younger, I would just black out and whatever happened, but I didn't remember it much. So that was 4th grade. 5th grade, I had this like witchy teacher, which I say witchy because she had like black hair and she kind of looked like a witch. Yeah, she did look like a witch. She had black short hair and her nose was like a certain way and she had a wart. And this might sound terrible, but she was so mean. And one day, there's a lot of stories with her, but one day, like there was the stapler that was misplaced. I don't know if it was lost or if it was just not in the same spot as it was supposed to be. And she made the whole class like miss lunch because of that. She was like, no one's leaving this room until someone returns the stapler. And I don't think someone stole it. I think it just wasn't in the spot it was supposed to be. I think it was just maybe on a different desk than it was supposed to be. So she kept the whole class back. That's not even the worst of it. Another day, there was this person in my class who was really mean to me. And I would have Tic Tacs at lunch, and I would give people my Tic Tacs, but eventually everyone would ask for them, and I'm like, if I gave everyone who asked a Tic Tac, I would have no Tic Tacs left. So I had to stop somewhere. So when this person who was really mean to me asked me for a Tic Tac, I'm like, no. So she told my 5th grade teacher that I did this. So my 5th grade teacher kept me after class when everyone was dismissed, like at the end of the day of school, and she sat me down and was like, you have such a good home life, you have such a good family, you have such good friends. This person, like, her mom has a broken finger or something like stupid like that, so small. And like, she was telling me I need to be nice to her, and I was starting to cry because it was like she was telling me I was a mean person. And meanwhile, my mom was waiting outside for me because it was the end of the day. She was waiting with my brother, who was like probably 5 at the time, and it was pouring rain, and she was wondering where I was because I was not coming out, and I was probably inside for like 20 minutes, and she was just waiting there with my brother in the pouring rain. Then I come out, like, she could tell that I was crying, and I told her what happened, and she was like mad because it's like it was all over Tic Tacs, like Tic Tacs, you know, those little minty candies, and I was getting like in trouble because I didn't share my Tic Tacs with someone who was mean to me. This is like where boundaries come in, because I was getting in trouble for something that was not wrong. Like I did not give someone my Tic Tacs because they were mean to me. That there's nothing wrong with that at all. So I don't understand why I was getting in trouble for that. And for her not to even tell my mother, like my mother was probably worried waiting for me. So anyway, I could go on forever about how people who are too nice, they get walked on over and over until you put your foot down and say, no, I am not moving. Just like that. I always think of that scene in Captain America Civil War where Peggy's niece, she's like, move when you can, but when you can't, put your foot in the ground and say, no, you move. That's the quote And I really like it. I think about it sometimes when I'm put in a situation where I need to decide if I am going to give in or if I am going to stick with my gut. And that makes you really think about, is my gut instinct, is what I'm standing for something I really believe in and something I'm willing to like put my neck out there for, or is the other person right? Sometimes that results in like compromise, but other times you realize that you really believe in what you're standing for and you're not going to move. So at the end of the year, I need to finish this story, but at the end of the year, the teacher ended up leaving. It was not clear if she was fired, but a lot of parents did complain about her because of all her little stints that she had, how she yelled at us and cursed at us, and we were in 5th grade, so like cursing was not okay. Some people believe that she quit and said the school was not the right fit for her, but I think she got fired, or maybe the teachers or the principal told her like, you should probably go. Meaning maybe she wasn't fired, but she was kind of like not invited for another year, let's just say that. So that was my 5th grade experience. I mean, I also almost got detention in 5th grade, which I'd never gotten detention before because we had these Friday folders that we had to bring home at the end of the week with our work in it and then have a parent sign it and bring it back on Monday. So that basically meant that the parents saw our grades and were okay with it. And one day I forgot. And as soon as we got in there on Monday morning, I realized, oh my God, I forgot. And I asked my teacher, I'm like, can I go ask my mom to sign this? I'm sure she's probably still outside. Like, and my teacher was like, no, you can't do that. And I was just so distraught. I was like crying. I think the teacher didn't end up giving me detention because she saw that I was like really upset. Or maybe, I don't know, because I remember she was really telling me, like, you're gonna get detention. Like, she was making me really scared. I don't know if the teacher ended up calling my mom and telling her how upset I was. And then my mom, like, told her over the phone that I told her to look at my papers and my mom just forgot to sign it. And my mom was saying, like, that it was her fault. And my teacher was like, you need to take responsibility for your actions. I just remember that I'm being so scared of getting detention because I never got detention at all. Like, not even high school, not middle school. So I was so scared. It was like the end of the world. But I got through it, didn't get detention. Moving on to 6th grade. In 6th grade is when we started to change classes. And that means that, did we get a locker? No, we didn't get a locker. I think we didn't get a locker until 8th grade. Yeah, I don't really remember. Oh my God, I can't remember. It was so long ago. Why is my mind just blanking? 6th grade. 6th grade. I remember we would play some Study Island in math class. It was like a website to practice math. We would play Pop Tropica, which was another game. And then we'd use like, what was it? Twix? No, not Twix. It was some type of website. It had a lot of games on it. I can't remember. It was not Twix, but I feel like Flix. No. I'm gonna remember once I stop filming this, and I'm gonna be so angry that I didn't remember, but we would play a lot of games after class. That's all I remember. Like, after the teacher would teach the lesson, we would just play games. My math teacher, I remember he like sold pencils, and he used the money that he got from that to like have like a pizza party every month, which was nice. It was nice of him. I bought a lot of pencils because they were like cool because he's the one who had them, and like no one else had pencils like them. Even though they were basic mechanical pencils, they were just like bright colors and something different, so they were fun. And in 7th grade is when I got was it 7th grade when I got the good English teacher? Yeah, I think it was 7th grade. No, was it 8th grade? I can't remember. Oh my God. I can remember like younger grades, but once you get to middle school, I'm kind of like it all blends together. Anyway, the teacher who edited my book, she was my English teacher in middle school. I can't remember if it was 7th and 8th grade or just 8th grade, but she was really like changing the game. She let us watch movies, and like we watched, I can't remember. What's that movie that's every time a bell rings an angel gets its wings? That movie we watched. And did we watch Casablanca? We watched West Side Story, the original one. And we told the other classes how we were watching movies, and they were so angry because we were like, there was like a low, middle, and high class, and we were like the advanced class, and they were mad that we were watching movies. But we would watch the movies and then write an essay about them and dissect it. So we weren't just being lazy. But I really liked how she incorporated different mediums. Like we would read short stories, we would research authors and then present our research. We would recite poems, we would watch movies, we would do all different activities and creative stories. It wasn't just like one thing or the other. It was like we had so many different variety in that class, and she really cared about teaching. It wasn't like a heavy workload, but it was more quality over quantity. And I think that is why I really fell into writing again, because she made me feel like I had stories that I could tell, and it was just really exciting. I think the teachers in this time period, like in middle school, are really important because they can make you believe in yourself. And another teacher I had that I really liked was my math teacher. I had him for 7th and 8th grade, and he was so funny. He was one of those people who would tell you a joke but have a straight face, and you would just, the whole class would like crack up. He was so funny, and he was a good teacher and really helpful on top of being funny. Like he would actually teach and help the students, and you could ask any questions. He would do review days, and we'd have whiteboards, and we'd write our answer on the whiteboard and show it up to the class, and he'd make it fun as possible. And I remember there's this One Direction song where they like do math, and I don't know what it's called, but they just sing. The One Direction is singing a song, and it's about math. And I asked them, can we play it in class? And eventually he's like, okay. Because the class was like 7 people, because it was also like the advanced class, so it didn't have many people in it. And what you're supposed to do in the music video is like you're supposed to add up the numbers to see what the solution is at the end, like what is the sum or the difference. But everyone was just watching it, and the girls were like mesmerized because it was One Direction, and the guys were like, this is so lame. And then at the end I'm like, okay, so like did you calculate the numbers? And my teacher was like, no, I didn't know we were supposed to be doing that. That class was just really, really fun. And we ended up after 8th grade, like right before we graduated, we all went to Applebee's, like with the teacher, his family, and then the whole class. And it was just, that class was just really fun. We did Secret Santa in that class. It was like a really good environment where you could ask questions, and he would make jokes. And it was just one of those teachers that if you got a question wrong on a test, you could redo the question, show your work, and he'd give you half credit because he wanted you to succeed, and he wanted to do anything he could to help you. And those type of teachers are the ones that like I really remember, the ones who just want to see you succeed. I had another science teacher who was really nice, but sometimes she was sassy. Together, all the teachers I think in middle school were the most memorable. That's why I think that whole like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kind of blend together, because I had similar teachers. It was all like the same students. Like we didn't get many new students, except there was this one kid. But I won't talk about that. That's like a whole long story. But I just want to mention in 8th grade, we went to Washington, D.C. for a field trip, and then Hershey Park on the way back. It was so fun to be with like all these kids so far away from home and with your teachers, and they were going on roller coasters. And my science teacher had like really like poofy hair, like really curly. And I remember after going on a loop-de-loop roller coaster, her hair was like so like, oh my god, so deformed. It was like really tall, and like it was so funny to watch like these teachers that you had seen in the classroom just like go on a roller coaster and like get ice cream with you, or you eat breakfast with them. It was just really, it was nice because those teachers were really kind, and we really knew each other in that school. In my middle school, like when it was teachers' birthdays, like all the students would go outside their class and sing happy birthday like right before the school day ended. We all really cared about each other, and it felt like a community. So I really appreciate that. That's why I kind of like growing up in a smaller town, because everyone like knew each other. And that can be bad, because if you don't like someone, you're still going to be around them. But it's also kind of like you grew up with these people for like 12 years. So you kind of know them deeper than a lot of people. And even though I don't talk to anyone from that time anymore, like I don't talk to anyone from grammar school, I still appreciate getting to know them for that many years, because that's something special that not everyone has. people who live in a place that has more people in it, like a school with more people, maybe you don't get a chance to be as close with that many people. And I'm not saying I was friends with everyone, I definitely wasn't, but it's definitely special to be able to grow up with that many people, and just through the years as things change, like you still be with those people. Even if you don't like them, you kind of learn a lot about them. I'll leave you with that. That was a lot of story times, really like reminiscing on old times, because it's easy to forget and not think about them. As time passes, it's really easy not to think about second grade or kindergarten and those funny things that happened, because more serious things are going on. But I think it's important from time to time to think back and remember that you were a kid too, and all these funny things happened and they made you who you are today. Maybe that little twitch you started because someone else did it, or I don't know, you have a desire to write movies because your friend did it, or this school assignment inspired it. So I think it's important to look back and see like where you've come from and all you've done all the years, because it makes you understand who you are right now. Hope to catch you next week on That Weird Friend podcast. I'm your host, Arianna Kaminsky. I hope you stick around because I like your type of weird. I hope you like mine.